listening to Frank Skinner's podcast from Absolute Radio.
This is Frank Skinner with Emily Dean and Alan Cochrane. You can text the show on 8 12 15. Follow the show on Twitter at Frank on the Radio, or email the show via the Absolute Radio website. Morning, Jim. Morning, Peter.
Morning.
Morning, Richie.
Morning, everyone.
We just had a bit of an incident, actually, in the studio when
Did we?
Emily was given
you're gonna...
was it coffee? Coffee in a coloured mug, and Emily don't like coloured mug.
Really
it was. Would you describe the colour as turquoise? Turquoise? I can never say that word.
I like turquoise.
Or a jade?
No, I'm going to go teal. It was teal.
Oh,
And I
you don't want your coffee in teal.
Come on. I mean,
But any coloured mug is out for you.
it's borderline phobia.
What
Is it?
What is
Please
it,
don't
do you
text in
think?
if you've got an actual phobia and you're upset with me.
Don't know when they might want to. They might
it's
feel
all right.
kinship.
They'll be too frightened to text it.
And coloured glasses, don't get me started.
You mean like tumblers?
Yeah.
As we
As
used to call
opposed to
them.
Bono.
Yeah.
Oh, coloured.
Oh, yes, he likes a pink frame, but he loves a
does.
pink spectacle.
You see,
Why don't I like it, Frank?
with a coloured glass, the thing is with me, is a glass, I don't think I've ever seen a glass that looked clean in my life. And so I'd rather not know. And with a
Right.
coloured glass, it covers a multitude, as they say. And
Well,
God knows I've covered a multitude in my time. Good night, Vicar.
Strange figure.
God, these cigarettes are killing me. Yeah. So,
Yeah, it was a bit upsetting.
Coloured mug, it doesn't. Yeah.
Does
it's
it not bother
interesting.
you?
No.
I think you said your mother-in-law had an issue, so maybe it's an age thing.
I think that my partner, Kath, doesn't like a coloured mug. I think she bought
Yeah, but there's a
whole...
lot of things Kath doesn't like.
No, too, but because she's very germ conscious, there's all sort of things she won't do.
Right.
And cigarettes, they're killing me. And no, there's yeah, she likes a white mug so she can see what's there. I think that's.
Well, that's exactly it. I like to know what I'm drinking.
I'll tell you if in food things, my main moment. I mean, to the point of the point of that is a hair in the food.
Oh, really?
Oh man, I just don't want the food if there's a hair in the food. You know, when you pull it out, it's holding on to other bits of food. Like knots. Once I've had a hair in my mouth, I just want to go to bed for the rest of the day. It's the most disgusting
Unusual choice of
thing.
venue.
It's a good rule.
Just talking about it now is giving me the no.
Would you not go
don't.
to a restaurant again if you found a hair in there in the food? Would it make you feel a bit illy?
I think I might go to the. It really puts me off eating because I always think it's a bit like when you see a big spider in the house. You always think there'll be another one because they travel in pairs, big spiders.
I mean, can I just say the bar is low? You know, I mean, I wouldn't want hair in the food. No one. Would you want hair in the food?
No, but it really makes me feel sick. And there aren't many things make me feel sick. Let me tell you that.
Oh, have some coffee out of this teal mug then.
I'd be all right with. I can take teal.
Okay.
Claude Eustace Teal, I believe that was the name of the detective in the Saint books. There you
We
are.
should all know
Even
that.
if you haven't laughed in that first link, you've learnt something.
Absolute Radio.
Frank Skinner on Absolute Radio.
Frank, Henna's from Gravesend has been in touch.
Who? Henna?
Henna's from Gravesend is one of our regulars.
Yes, I always think it's going to be someone who hennas from Gravesend. Do people still henna, or has that died out? You know that
Or
little
like henna
that
tattooing.
ornamentation
yes.
tattoo.
I believe they do. I believe that's true. Yeah, the producer's nodding.
I think you probably see it, at the seaside.
Probably
Festivals.
not. Maybe festivals.
You know, where people think, oh, I'll be a bit different while I'm here.
Maybe.
Yeah.
Henna's has a whatever happened to.
Oh, yeah.
Morning, Frank and the gang. Whatever happened to e-numbers?
Oh.
Used to be a big palaver. Whatever happened to palaver? But now they barely get a mention.
Well,
what do you think about that?
I think he's right.
I'm slightly killing this joke because of the context, but one of my happiest moments was I was with a friend of mine in a restaurant, supermarket, same thing. Supermarket in Birmingham, And,
That's your idea of a restaurant.
I was just thinking of the pick and mix section. We was in a supermarket, and there's, you know when people are sort of pushing things in a supermarket, trying to sell things, and this woman said, "Would you like to try some European processed cheese?" And my mate said, "No, there's too many E's in it." I thought it was a very fine joke. Anyway, yes, they have sort of disappeared.
They've gone away to be replaced by other food-related worries, haven't they?
Yeah, I'm going to give that a.
Whatever happened to?
Excellent.
I mean, they still exist, but we just don't talk about them anymore. Obviously,
Too busy
Actually,
talking about carbs or fats or good fats, aren't we now?
You are,
Yeah, often.
yeah, Mr. Matt. In case you don't get that, Alan is a martial arts enthusiast.
Yeah.
I had
Whatever happened to?
Yeah.
whatever happened to pictures of celebrities in the newspaper reading that newspaper?
Oh,
Yeah.
yeah.
It reading it in a way you never read a newspaper,
Yeah.
so you're holding it very upright so they can read the title of the newspaper.
There was a lovely one this morning, Frank.
There was one of all
Was it the
four
Beatles?
Beatles.
Oh, it was the Beatles, yeah.
all reading. I think it was the Sunday Mirror or something.
Yeah.
Like that. And you have to look at it. You have to point at it like you never do when you read the newspaper. I suppose you might do,
Yeah.
but you have to look enthusiastic.
You have to pose like you're in what I believe is called an agency stock photo
Oh,
of
yes.
someone doing something. Man reading newspaper.
Well, I posed for something like National Book Week. They said, "Will you pose with a book, reading a book?" I was in this bookshop doing it. So I said, "Okay, I'll use David Baddiel's book, thus giving publicity to a friend at the
Oh,
same
that's
time."
nice.
So I held this book. It was new out. I hadn't read it, and I really laughed in the picture. And Dave said to me, "Oh, that was nice," he said, "but it's not really that kind of book." You laughed. "Oh, I'm sorry, mate. I'm sorry I let you down. You should have sent me a
Mate.
price. Send me a pricey."
Yeah.
I should have emailed him for a pricey.
Frank Skinner.
On Absolute Radio.
Absolute Radio.
We just did a Whatever Happened To, which is our recurring feature, isn't it?
Well, I look forward to the day when we've stopped doing it and we'll be able to further on do whatever happened to whatever happened.
Well, that sounds good. Well, we've had an email, Whatever Happened To. Hello, Frank, Emily and Alan. WHT, Whatever Happened To.
Yeah.
The phrase, "oh my giddy aunt," as an exclamation to express shock, surprise, or to replace an expletive. I woke the other morning and the expression was the first thing that came into my mind, which is odd, as is the statement itself. Who came up with this turn of phrase? Why choose an aunt to express an emotion or convey an opinion? And why was she giddy? And why do you think the use of this statement has somehow disappeared? What was her demise? Many thanks to you all. That's from Helen.
I think the etymology is that it was Prince Charles used it first about the personal habits of the Princess Margaret.
Oh, really?
Yeah, because I think she was quite fueled.
She was quite a giddy character.
Oh, on what's that island they all went to?
Mystique.
Mystique, yeah, with Roddy
No,
Llewellyn.
Mystique.
What did I say?
Mystique was Alicia Dixon. Okay.
No, that's where she used to go, I think.
Is this one you made up?
Mystique.
Is this
Okay.
one you made up bits?
Yes.
Yeah, I thought so.
Well, I don't think I'm making it up about.
I love your made-up bit.
You know what?
Not lies.
Yeah.
But too, I was having an enormous argument.
Improvisations.
I was having a massive row with a woman in central London.
Oh, hang on, I just want to settle down in my chair. I love these sort
who
of
I'd
stories.
been dating. The sort of row
Love this.
where people were at the windows of pubs watching us. It was such a.
Oh, God.
So where were you, Frank? Were you in the street?
I was. I said I don't know the name of any streets.
Okay.
Um,
Was that what the row was about? Your
it
sense
was.
of
It was
direction?
just by Jay Sheiky's.
All right.
Oh, I know
the fish
exactly. Yes, I
restaurant.
know the alley well.
Yes.
And it was having a
It's a good
terrible split
Alley.
up kind of a row. And
You split up with her in the alley.
no, we didn't. It was a vile row. And I remember at one point a homeless man came up to me and said, "If I can levitate, will you give me 50 pence?" I said, "I'm having an enormous row." Anyway, we were mid-row. It was, looking back, it was horrible. But I'd done a joke on telly that previous week about, I don't know if you remember this, Princess Margaret had burnt her feet getting into a bath of boiling water. And,
I made a reference to it only recently, Frank, on this show when you were off. Yes, I believe, yeah.
And
famous joke of yours.
She burnt both her feet, and well, the joke was how did she burn both of her feet? You know, you put one in and you think, what's that sizzling noise? So I had various suggestions about whether she vaulted in and stuff. You know what people are like when they've had a drink. But anyway, I did the joke, and it was a stormer. Though I say it as shouldn't. Anyway, I'm in the middle of this row, and a bloke comes down from Jay Sheeky's. He's pushing Princess Margaret in a wheelchair with both her feet heavily bandaged. And it's like, I'm having around one of my jokes has gone past on wheels. It's the weirdest thing.
Skinner, Dean and Cochrane. Together, The Frank Skinner Show.
Absolute Radio.
I was driving in Scotland this week.
Get about, don't you?
And I had a hire car. And have you ever seen this on a hire car?
Did you have a legal tender?
What does that mean?
You've got to have legal tender. Oh, so yeah.
Real money.
Yeah, real money.
I don't carry money.
Okay.
And I was...
The Princess Margaret.
The car started beeping. And I looked down, and the message on the dashboard was "Be vigilant."
Oh.
With no further explanation.
Luckily, you were already in a superhero costume, though. Eh?
But I don't really want life hacks from a car. I want like specific. I have no idea what it was talking about, and it kept on
telling you to be vigilant.
I am being vigilant. Leave me alone. But yeah. Have you ever heard of that before?
No. Extraordinary.
It was. I was unsettled by it.
Frank, we've just had a message in from Jim Davidson.
Oh yeah,
you may remember he's been in touch. Yeah, he's been in touch before, but he's now been in touch to say my favourite comic.
Of who?
Of
Me?
you.
Oh, that's brilliant.
Isn't that lovely?
Oh, how nice.
Yeah.
Bit harsh on me, Jim, but I'll take it.
I mean, it might have been about you.
Oh yeah, it might have been about you, Em.
Oh yeah. Oh, imagine if it was. That'd be my Martine McCutcheon moment.
or maybe he's just put down this week's edition of the Beano.
Yeah.
He's just telling everyone.
Maybe there'll be a picture of him pointing at the comic whilst he's reading it, Frank. Yeah, he says, my favourite comic. That's a lovely way to start the day.
Yeah,
nice.
Wonderful. You know, I was once with Jim Davidson in the south of France, and he had a fabulous Aston Martin car. It was very Jim Davidson. He had like a fabulous blonde companion and a fabulous Aston Martin car. And but he had to start the car by hitting the starter motor with a sledgehammer. But he was still tootling around the south of France, regardless.
Oh, excellent.
That's lovely. So anyway, I'm in Scotland.
Oh, yes.
And
bring us back down to earth. Let's see.
And I went to Loch Ness.
Being vigilant. Is that
I
what
thought
happened?
exactly.
There's a monster on these shores. I'm having it.
Well, I met a man who I think is the epitome of be vigilant. Do you know who Steve Feltham is?
No.
Well, the bloke, he come up to me. I was on the shore at Loch Ness, and this bloke said to me, "The last time I met you was on your chat show. You were interviewing me," and I thought,
how embarrassing, you didn't recognise him.
No, I didn't recognise him, obviously. But that was in the days, you know, when you watch a TV chat show now, you're going to get like Christian Bale,
right,
and Russell Howard and names. He said to me, he said it was me, Oleg Gordievsky, the bloke who defected from the KGB, and Myra Gale Lewis, the woman who married Jerry Lee Lewis when she was 13. It's like a Fellini movie. So
it's like a police evidence file.
Yeah.
So like when David Lynch was making chat shows.
Yeah, exactly. So he said, I'm the bloke who watches for the Loch Ness Monster.
Oh.
And I did think... Because it used to be spoken of a lot, the Loch Ness Monster, and it really... obviously, when you get to Scotland, it does
Frank,
crop up.
I used to love...
Up in the
when I
gift
was
shops.
a kid, that would be so exciting when you'd see those grainy pictures in the newspaper. Remember,
Yes.
it was like UFO pictures.
Oh, yeah.
Well, the surgeon's photograph, I think I've exposed on this show before,
Yeah.
was actually taken by a gynaecologist, but in the 30s when it was taken, they didn't want to introduce the idea of a gynaecologist into the public forum, so they called him a surgeon. I like one of the theories about that picture is that it was an elephant's trunk. Which is, to me, is a bigger mystery than it being a sea serpent living there. But Steve Feltham, well, I'll tell you about Steve Feltham.
Absolute Radio.
Frank Skinner on Absolute Radio.
Can I just storm in?
Go for it.
That's it. No, I'd like to storm in with a I would say it's a questione. Really.
Okay.
This is from 793 Frank. Dear Frank, Emily Cockrell, long time, first time. Love that.
So
Yeah.
far, so good. Like it.
How does Frank remember the details of all his anecdotes, a la Princess Margaret? Does his exceptionally large brain size have extra storage capacity?
Well, it probably does.
I think it is that.
But I think most people would remember Princess Margaret in a wheelchair with bandaged feet as a feature of one of their anecdotes.
The week
Yeah.
after they've
You
made a
don't tell
joke
that.
about
You
it.
don't tell that story and think, oh, I forgot the Princess Margaret. So yeah, I think that probably the remembering of those things leads one into comedy. But I think remembering Princess Margaret in a wheelchair with bandaged feet, that's not
Yeah.
a feat.
No.
Not a feat.
No.
See, interesting illustration of two words spelt differently and meaning different things.
Feet.
Feet and feet.
Yeah.
But thanks for joining in, and thanks.
793, yeah.
And I'll try and keep the standards up. So Steve Feltham, I was talking about. Do you know?
Loch Ness.
Do you know Steve Feltham?
No,
No,
but
but-
thanks for the tip.
Okay, so
He wants to be careful in this day and age.
he does. I think. Well, I think it's historical. No, he didn't. He didn't.
Can I just say, I
say?
love that you trailed the Steve Feltham anecdote.
Steve Feltham has been. What he does, he lives in a converted mobile library at the side of
Lock up
Loch
your
Ness.
daughters.
And he
Ladies.
looks for the Loch Ness Monster. That's what he does. In fact, he must have bought a car that said "Be vigilant" and just overreacting. But that's what he does.
Is that not a job that, with digital photography, could now be done using a webcam?
Well, it's interesting. I was talking to him outside his trailer, and I couldn't see a camera around, and I thought, he's been there since 1991. I thought, you know what? If I was looking, I think I'd keep a camera to hand.
Yeah.
You don't want to say, actually, I saw the Loch Ness Monster really close up today.
Hang on, is he since 1991? Does he look like sort of one of the Happy Mondays? Has he got like really old school fashions?
He looks, he's quite a dashing character.
Okay.
But I've never been a fan of the pics or it didn't happen thing. But I
No.
think
Right.
with the Loch Ness Monster,
Yeah.
I probably do go into that.
Frank
Skinner.
on Absolute Radio.
Absolute Radio.
The man on the loch.
Yeah.
He the way he lives is that he makes models of the Loch Ness Monster and sells them because he was an artist, I think, before he did this.
Right.
And I was surprised to see that they were the sort of comic representation
Oh.
of, whenever you see
Oh yeah.
Nessie, as I believe I don't know if it's a he or a she, so I'm going to call it it. Whenever you
We
see,
don't need to get restricted by gender with Nessie.
no, okay,
They.
she's gender
I think
fluid.
is the pronoun.
Whenever you see buy one in a gift shop or something, they look like a viaduct You know
Yes.
that thing of they go up and you can't quite work out as a swimming style how it works.
Yeah.
But there's a sort of there's a slight comedy representation of Nessie, isn't there?
Yeah, but I thought the real comedy would be is if he was on the side of the loch, having been there since 91, and he saw her once, and I think he saw. I'm saying her. He saw her in 91, I think, or early 92, and he hasn't seen her since.
So
I think
it's a distant relationship.
what it
isn't
should be doing is selling models, and the models should be like rough water with just a slightly dark shape in it. Wouldn't that be? I would have bought one of those. Just like a monument to the elusivity of Nessie. But instead, they're the viaducts thing.
Oh, really?
You know, the sort of robbery viaduct. I mean, come on, guys. Anyway, what else? Sorry,
Have you not got any more Steve Feltham information?
That's all my Feltham material out in the open.
I mean, Dave has said, what if you distracted him when talking and he'd miss the monster?
Well, I did think
27 years wasted.
Well, you
That's
could
from
do
Dave.
that. You could look. You could look over his shoulder talking to him and go, hold on. And then when he looked round, go,
What a prank.
Yeah, that
Did you
would
do
be-
that?
Well, he did say that a 12-year-old girl was up there recently, and she was only there a few hours, and she took quite a decent photo of it, some girl from Leeds.
Oh, really?
Best photo for a while.
I do know, I love your,
That's got
your
to
new
stick in
Nessie
his
pals.
craw a bit, hasn't it? If he's been there since
know.
91 and then a 12-year-old does 2 hours there and gets a better picture than him.
I know, it's a sickness. How do you think I'll feel when they see these young comics?
The Frank Skinner Show. Listen live every Saturday morning from 8 on Absolute Radio.
This is Frank Skinner with Fools. No, it wasn't. This is Frank Skinner with Emily Dean and Alan Cochrane. You can text the show on 81215, follow the show on Twitter at Frank on the Radio, or email the show via the Absolute Radio website. Them's your choices.
Frank,
Yeah.
I haven't told you about my Halloween antics.
Well, I'd want to know about that because I should say that me and Emily usually go to the same Halloween party every year.
Yes.
I'm calling it our date every year.
But I was in the Western Isles.
I felt a little bereft without you. I'm not going to lie.
Yeah, I
There's a
bet
little
you
bereft there.
But you never thought about me.
I did.
Were you
I
wearing
felt-
a little bereft?
I felt a bit Lee Ryan post Blue,
Oh.
Oh, no.
and it was fine. People were asking about my new album, Army of Lovers.
No?
But really, I could see on their faces.
What's that the name of his album?
Yeah.
Or was that
Very
what
much
yours
so.
would be called?
Mine and Lee's, as it turns out. And I could see in their faces they were thinking, "Oh, this is all right, but where's Duncan James? That's who we want."
I doubt.
A little bit. But it was, it was great fun. I'll tell you what you missed though, was there's something that Frank and I like to do together at about 10:30 p.m. every Halloween. I don't know if you can recall what that is, Frank.
Well, it's a nice cup of tea, is what it is. When everyone around is starting to go into oblivion.
Oh,
Yeah, we have a tea.
We go in the kitchen and have a nice cup of tea.
That's good.
Okay, so normally with Frank, that's fine. I'm allowed to do that because I'm protected by the cloak of celebrity.
All right.
And I think that's why people never seem to pick up on that when you have the tea.
Haven't you got the cloak of celebrity now?
Oh my God, I'm just so happy. I don't know what to do.
Maybe yours is more of a chemise.
It's a pashmina of celebrity.
Oh, well,
Yeah,
that's
that'll
all
do.
right.
But Frank,
The wrap of celebrity.
that's something very different. But what happened was that people were laughing at me about this tea.
Oh.
I mean,
Bullies.
someone said to me, "Oh, steady on, Grandma."
Oh.
Oh, no.
Someone else, and I didn't like this. They got it
worrying
wrong.
thing was it was Wayne Rooney in a shrub.
He was
a
chatting
nearby
me up.
shrub.
Another said, "Oh, what is this, Chimp's tea party?"
Oh.
No need.
Firstly,
for that.
that's very cruel.
Yeah.
Secondly,
You weren't even dressed as a chimp.
But that's wrong, isn't it? Doesn't Chimp's Tea Party mean it's chaotic?
Yeah.
But isn't also Chimp's tea parties? They used to have them at zoos as entertainment, but of course you can't do it now.
It's very cool.
Laughing at them, not with them, apparently, now.
Oh, but they probably loved a nice cup of tea.
I think a few of them got scolded.
Oh, did they?
They shouldn't have trusted them with the actual kettle.
Did they give them actual tea?
They prefer a Ribena
I don't know what they had, but it used to be quite an attraction, didn't it, the Chimp's tea
Well, I
party?
think they went a bit postal. You know why?
Yeah.
They gave them blue mugs.
Yeah.
That's the problem. They didn't like the coloured mugs.
They prefer a white mug.
So, Frank, I went as Villanelle from the Killing Eve TV show.
Oh, yes.
You familiar with that?
Oh, yes, and I saw the outfit. So
Did you like it?
It's a lot. Is it chiffon? Is that what you'd call it?
Organza.
Oh, okay.
Okay.
I didn't think you were that excited. No, you look fantastic. Congratulations.
What I like, I mean,
In case you didn't see Killing Eve, it's about a female serial killer, and that's one of the
Spoiler
outfits.
alert.
I would describe it as a psychopath obsessed by fashion. How dare you?
Actually, are you a serial killer if you're getting paid for it?
Oh, no.
Text in 8 12 15.
Yeah.
Producer says no. She
Okay.
just shook her head.
It's very. She really knew as well.
Yeah.
She looked it up
Like, this is the
recently.
thing I've
Yeah.
Googled, just
Yeah.
in case.
Serial killer brackets unpaid close brackets on Wikipedia.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's interesting. That's a salarial killer.
I've got something else I want to ask you about Halloween. Would you like to go to music now, or have I got time to ask
Well,
you?
let's ask the producer. What
No.
do you think, Daisy? Music.
Oh, she's got a moment.
She said it very quietly, though. It's when it comes, see, they're all right, the backroom boys, but when the light turns their way, they crumble like a misplaced Jenga.
Absolute Radio.
Frank Skinner on Absolute Radio.
So, yeah.
Well, Halloween, so there were some great costumes. I mean, I don't just want to read you out a list of who you may have seen in the papers, but one of my favourites was Boris Becker.
Oh.
Now, why I liked his costume, he went as a vampire. I mean, it was fairly sort of, regular vampire. I think there were a few bloody fingers in his hat, in his top hat. But his footwear.
Oh.
Did he go all the way with footwear for a change?
No, I'll tell you what he went. He went
Tennis shoes.
yeah, he went black Reeboks.
Oh, did he?
Went ghost in Reeboks, as Alan I think called it.
Excellent.
And I thought, as he's a sportsman, I think it's okay.
That is good.
Maybe.
What's your take on that? Is that okay?
Knowing that he got them free.
Although I think he was sponsored by Puma when he was a player.
Oh, was
But
he?
he might well have.
I should say that we always talk about this show about people who do fancy dress failing at the footwear, just
Yeah.
giving up on the footwear and wearing anything with it.
Tell you, he didn't fail the footwear. Shirley Ballas.
I think,
Oh, really?
Shirley Ballas?
yeah.
Catwoman she went as. I mean, it's not strictly Halloween, but she looked great.
No, well, all these things. I mean, I was away for Halloween, but my son trick or treated, and he went as a devil, and I thought that's back to basics.
Love that.
That's what you want on Halloween, because it is supposed to be horror related in some way, horror or.
David Williams, Ming the Merciless.
Well, I think that's fine because he's a. I think that's fine. He's a bad
that's
guy.
okay. He's a villain. Yeah.
He didn't actually tell us what footwear Shirley Ballas had on as Catwoman.
Very.
Hang on. Kitten heels.
Oh, wow.
There we go. About 10 minutes.
I wondered why you'd asked that question.
10 minutes it took me.
She had a thigh-high boot.
Oh,
Of
excellent.
course she did.
Did anyone go as the Loch Ness Monster?
No.
Missed a trick.
Funnily enough,
You
because it's not
could.
1978.
But you could go as the Loch Ness Monster, couldn't you?
Yeah.
You could
Actually,
you could
maybe
go-
you, me and Kath could do that next year. I'll go as the little end.
We'll go as each viaduct
Yeah.
section.
That's a good
I'll go as
idea.
Viaduct 3.
Yeah,
Because I'm the
idea.
smallest.
And I'll go, but with a tartan scarf. You know that thing. Always has the tartan
Yeah, tartan
scarf.
scarf.
Sometimes a
Kath-
beret,
Kath
maybe.
can be the middle section.
But he's a monster. He qualifies. She
Yeah.
or she.
Oh, I think so. They. Yeah.
The LNM.
Chris O'Dowd and his wife, I think it's Dawn, her name is.
Can I say, it's just struck me that the Loch Ness Monster's in alphabetical order. LNM.
Yes.
He could have been pulled out of the centre of the alphabet.
Strange observation.
The thing you never...
It's an observation you have when you're about 5.
Yeah, it's the thing you never heard said. You never hear it said about the Loch Ness Monster. I can't understand why.
Breaking news.
I'm just thinking, that LNMOP is quite a cute, kind of key section when you're reciting the alphabet.
Oh, yeah, that's true, yeah.
If you saw him urinate, you go LNM, P. Yeah.
Frank, I'd say LMNOP is the lighters in the air moment of the alphabet song.
The what?
The lighters in the air moment of the alphabet song.
It's almost where they cease to be letters and they join together as sounds. LNMOP sounds like a word of its own.
I think it's the sort of Wonderwall. I think people go, yeah. As soon as that L approaches, I think, I'm excited. This is their greatest hit. I love it.
It's a great thing, the alphabet. That might be the latest.
Applause for the alphabet.
That might be the latest review we've ever had on the show. The alphabet, pretty good, looking good.
Frank
Skinner
on Absolute Radio.
Absolute Radio.
We've had quite a lot of texts in.
We've heard about the mistake that we made.
Let's go to the. Here we go. Correzione, ole, ole, ole. Yes, I made a mistake when I got very excited about the fact that the Loch Ness Monster was in alphabetical order, and that section of LNMOP because. It's LMNOP.
Yeah.
So having celebrated the alphabet, I think I also paid respect to its difficulties.
Yes.
The pitfalls.
Yeah.
And thank you to 071 465 3390.
Yes, thank you everyone.
803, all of the people that have sent us that correction.
But I have at last explained the mystery of the Loch Ness Monster. I think I said, I can't believe it, no one's ever pointed this out before.
Oh.
And now I know why. It's
not
incorrect.
I can't believe that I didn't spot it because I think I just got swept away by the jubilation.
I know.
Of the
I think
moment.
I was.
Me too.
It was my exuberance. I
loved it.
I don't consider myself normally a person that responds to peer pressure, but I think I must have.
I don't
the
think
wisdom of crowds took over.
Oh yeah.
Alan is not a man who swept away.
No.
No. Heavens no.
No.
But yes. So I'm sorry. I made a mistake.
Okay.
But if it was LMN.
Yeah, but you could do that about anything, Frank.
No, but
Can't just say if it was.
No, but if he was called Loch.
If the alphabet was entirely different.
Do you remember Grandmaster Flash?
Yeah.
Of course I
What
do.
about Loch Monster Ness? He could have been a great Scottish rap hero.
He could.
I bet you I go past some poster now on a wall with no pictures on saying DJ Miguel and Death Rights.
Yeah.
And it'll say Loch Monster Ness. I bet somebody takes that name.
We should say, if anyone doesn't know, Frank is quite obsessed by those posters you see sometimes.
No
and
pictures.
what does it have?
Never any pictures.
Never pictures. Just what does it have? A date, Frank?
I don't know. Does it have a date even? It's an event that, but I don't know what it is.
say,
Whether it's a gig, whether they're selling
Aquali.
records. Yeah,
There's just words.
yeah, exactly.
I had an incident.
DJ Minchin.
Oh yeah.
Who is it? Do people ride past that and go, oh, wow, Minchin's on?
No, I've never heard of him.
Here's a question.
Yeah.
Chris O'Dowd came as a whoopee cushion,
What?
but he had eyeliner on.
Oh,
Why does a whoopee cushion have eyeliner?
that's a good question.
12:15.
That's a scary thought.
I didn't
Unless
get
that's
that.
just what he was
Do you
wearing
remember
anyway.
the old joke? What if Whoopi Goldberg married Peter Cushing? You don't get those jokes anymore of what
Was
if.
it,
and what if.
I'm going to go whatever happened to with
Was
that,
it
Frank.
Whoopi Goldberg and Gerard Depardieu, and it'd be Whoopi Duppy
Oh.
Did you just make that up?
No,
Oh,
it's a joke. It exists.
okay.
Okay.
All right.
In fact, I think someone on the circuit might do it, so now I might be in trouble with the rest of my circuit colleagues.
Well, not if they've taken it from the archive of age.
Good point.
There was another one about... it was Imre Varadi. Remember, Imre Varadi was a footballer at Sheffield Wednesday. Remember him?
I'm sure.
His surname was Varadi, and somebody told me his wife was called Olive.
Oliverardi.
Oliverardi. Oh, yeah, I get it now.
Very
It's
good.
not a joke you hear much now.
No, it's not.
You didn't hear it a lot then, to be honest.
The Frank Skinner Show on Absolute Radio. Back Saturday morning from 8. Tune in live for the full Frank experience.
Absolute Radio.
So, I tell you, what do you think about this? Because a couple of years ago, because I fell into the trap that it doesn't have to be horror. You could just go as anyone who's recognisable.
Oh, was this at the Ross's Halloween party?
Yeah.
Right.
So I was going to go as Eddie Izzard.
Oh, yes.
Because, the pink beret had become a very recognisable.
Very recognisable.
And I thought...
This year, you were going to go...
No, it's been like a couple of... It was like Brexit time when he was on telly a lot.
Oh, no, but imagine if someone came as you, Frank, for
Whatever
Halloween.
happened to
But
Brexit?
who could go as me?
No one
I'm
mentions it
really
now.
hard to go as because I'm not very distinct. The only person who could go as me is me. Then I think Jonathan would be upset if I turned up as me.
Maybe Graham Norton or Peter Capaldi.
Yeah.
Any of the Frankie lookalikes.
Yeah, maybe. But because they say, don't they, one of the tests of mega celebrity is like someone. Actually, it's not. It's a certain type of celebrity. Like you could go as Jedward. There's some people who are just distinctive, and Eddie Izzard, he had the glasses, he had the black fingernails, and he had the pink beret.
Yeah.
So I was going to go to that, and Kat said to me, "Oh no, don't go to that." She said, "If Eddie says that, I think he'll think that you're saying he's horror."
Oh, yeah.
And I thought, so I just didn't go.
I can't even go dressed as someone I know to a Halloween horror party.
It's annoying.
What does the world come to?
It is
annoying.
annoying. Do you know, I've never found a context to wear that pink beret I bought online.
That's how eBay works, so it sucks you in and then you've bought
I know,
something.
I've got it, but I never. Sometimes I think there's a couple of times I've put it on to go out and thought, no,
Not for
I
five
can't.
aside.
Do you know,
I can't
Frank, I
carry it
felt
off.
something ice cold down my back at one point, and I screamed. You know how I do, and it's very over the top. Where I went, ah!
Yeah.
And it was, do you know what it was? It was the zip of the arm of Professor Brian Cox's costume, which was Space 1999.
Oh.
Now,
Okay, not horror.
No, he goes as a space... Yeah, but that's his thing. He goes as a space thing, I think.
Yeah, but that's
It's
like me
very
going
science.
as Gareth Southgate.
Yeah.
You can't just go on someone you're sort of associated with.
I like
Even if you
Alan
have
saying
bought it,
above him, he's very science.
He's very science.
He is very
Even in
science.
fancy dress,
Yeah.
he's scientific.
Yeah, you talk to him for a bit and you think, oh, he's a nice bloke, and then he says something about science and you think, oh, I don't want to listen to this at a party.
I've never met him.
Science at a party? He's joking. Imagine if at school you'd said to somebody, so I went to a party and we started talking about science. And I said, what? It would have been like the height of tedium. The most dull thing you could do would be at a party talking about
But wouldn't
science.
Yeah, but science is very popular now.
I
Wouldn't
know
the
it is,
science
but-
people say stuff like,
at
this
the
whole party's because of science, Frank?
I
This
know
whole
that.
Party.
I know
Oh, yeah.
that. But,
You know,
but
that sort of stuff.
in the 70s, when we were more honest about things, we all acknowledged that science, is a tedious subject, and that the kids who did it was the kids. You didn't want to hang around with lots of acrylic fibres and bad skin. And now, of course, everyone's saying, oh, man, science. And I don't believe you. Stop. Just tell the truth. I'm glad it exists, and I like the people interested in it. But it's not one of the interesting subjects. And that's it.
Frank
Skinner.
on Absolute Radio.
Absolute Radio.
I stayed in on the actual night of Halloween and gave out sweets to children from a box that had a head in it. My wife...
A severed head.
Yeah, she made a head out of her granny's teeth and some hair that she chopped off a dog.
Glad it was a
I
teeth.
thought you were going to say out of her granny.
It's disgusting, but I I ended up answering the door a lot because my kids were out doing their trick-or-treating, and I had to say to kids that knocked on the door, "Oh, I've got some sweets, but they're in the box with this scary head," and some of them were genuinely terrified by
Can I
it.
just say, show, don't tell?
Oh, yeah.
That's the thing.
Yeah.
With, trick or treat.
Yeah.
Well, I was a little bit worried that they would be too afraid. But the night before it...
Sorry, Al, do you like that Frank's giving you notes on your...
I'll bear it in mind, I'll
Halloween?
use it in 12 months' time, thank you.
Did you dress up as anything yourself? Said he, expecting the answer no.
No. To be honest...
He's really hard on him about these Halloween things.
I flirted with the idea of putting a bucket of sweets outside the house and not answering the door at all, which some people do, lazy people or people that are out, they just leave it there.
You can't restrict how many sweets people take.
Yeah,
I'm sure that held you back.
Surely the first trick-or-treater would just tip the whole bag into their...
Exactly, that's what they're like. They're
and
mercenaries.
Also, weirdly, I'm such a health and safety nut, I worried about the candle being out there if I wasn't checking it every 3 minutes when the door went.
True. Yeah.
But the night before it, we went to a theatrical experience about a séance. My wife said, we should go to this scary show.
Yeah.
It's the Manchester Royal Exchange. It's called The Séance. And it ended up that there was 4 of us. I did a bit of stream crossing where there was different friends that didn't know each other. And then...
Some alive, some dead.
Yeah. And our friend Susan said, before we go, I could make us all fondue. So I ended up...
Steady on, love.
I ended up sending a text message to my friend Graham saying, "Do you want to come to my house for fondue before we go to the séance?" I thought, is this the real me? Is this Alan Cochrane?
No,
What's
it doesn't
happened to
sound
me?
Can I
very-
just say, you're having fondue with Susan and Graham. He's looking at the Loch Ness Monster. I'm the
Yeah.
only one in 2016.
Who's winning? That's what we want to know. 8, 12,
Did
15.
you say 2016?
Did I say 2016?
Yeah.
Yeah. Come on, Em.
You've had a hell of a Halloween.
You're closing in on the present day. I mean, you're winning the race.
Whatever happened to 2017?
I mean, it's one thing. We've got the alphabet wrong and the year so far today.
Yeah.
I'm so sorry.
Poor Em.
Oh,
You know when they say doesn't know what day it is? Even worse.
Absolute Radio.
Frank Skinner on Absolute Radio.
Frank, what about when I said it was 2016?
I know,
Yeah.
that's a worry.
And I was sort of putting you down as well, so I made a real fool of myself.
At least I corrected you.
You did.
Because whereas when I got the alphabet wrong, you just left me to it.
I got it
I
wrong.
got swept away.
By the way, when you mentioned Boris Becker, I was reminded of, obviously when Becker was a big tennis star, he got many accolades and many things were said about him. But I was just reading the other day, Andrew Motion said he was watching Wimbledon with Philip Loch. And when Becker came on, he said, "Oh my God, he looks like the young W.H. Auden." And I thought, I bet not many people said that when they were watching Wimbledon. He actually does. But
Yeah.
So anyway, you had a tremendous time.
Oh, I absolutely loved it. I mean, I feel bad because I obviously missed you enormously.
It's okay, because I find those miss you nights are the hardest. Oh, those miss you nights. Cliff.
I do find as well, it's very useful with the young people. They do all your social media for you, Frank.
Do they?
Yeah. My God, kids with it. And I literally just hand them my phone. I said, do that.
Oh, I wouldn't hand anyone my phone, I don't think.
Okay. Oh, they do it
Especially
great. They
kids.
upload it.
They might use it to buy space online.
Space.
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 No space.
Not the Brian Cox
Yeah, Brian Cox
space.
space.
No, right, he's got enough space.
He's
to
space
fill.
1999.
Thanks to science, we're all here, Frank. That's what you'd say.
Was Peter Crouch there?
No.
Does Peter Crouch Halloween ever think, maybe I won't do skeleton this year? Do something different.
Do you think it's hard for the Noel Fieldings?
What you could call is a snooker queue. Oh, I hadn't thought of that. Thanks for your help.
What about, what's that stringy cheese? I can't remember what it's called.
Emmental.
No.
No.
I just said the name of a cheese.
It's like a cheese.
I just think it's like when I'm watching Mastermind on their specialist thing. I just say anything.
Throw anything at it.
It's worked like twice in 20 years. It's very satisfying.
Yeah.
Okay. Cloche-Mail.
What's that?
Cloche-Mail.
cheese.
I think Cloche-Mail actually is a French novel about a public toilet.
Oh, did you think it was a cheese?
Yeah, I thought it was a cheese.
You know, we were talking about hot beverages at Halloween.
Isn't that annoying when
Oh,
you're
yeah.
trying to think of a cheese and you say a French novel about a public toilet? I hate it when that happens. Anyway, sorry.
We were talking about hot beverages.
Hot beverages.
And 229 agrees with us. I'm completely behind the Halloween party hot beverage. At our work's Christmas party last year, I carried a nice cup of tea onto the dance floor.
Dangerous.
I was met with a mixture of ridicule and awe. I'll be doing the same this year. It's an absolute game changer.
It's an absolute health and safety nightmare, is what it is. 229.
What if we
Shut
find?
up.
What if we find out 229's a chimpanzee? Explains the whole thing. You know, I got quite anxious when you said someone said it's like a chimp's tea party. I thought, can you still say chimp? Do you have to say chimpanzee the whole?
Oh, do you?
right. Yeah.
I'll have a look
Why?
in the
It's
absolute
cruel to
manual.
Jim. Oh, I see.
Yeah.
Because you know you can't say anything now, can you? As we say in the West Midlands.
You're listening to Frank Skinner's podcast from Absolute Radio.
This is Frank Skinner on Absolute Radio with Emily Dean and Alan Cochrane. You can text the show on 81215, follow the show on Twitter at Frank on the Radio, or email the show via the Absolute Radio website. I wasn't happy with where I put the breaths in that, but it's too late now.
Again, how dare you?
We can redo it. We could fix that in post, as they
we
say.
don't fix anything in post.
Nah.
So you didn't have any Halloween celebration in the year of our Lord 2016.
I did in 2016, but I didn't this year.
I feel your pain after my Ed Sheeran George Ezra confusion a couple of weeks ago. That's been
awful, isn't it,
haunting me.
Al?
So
And
Thank you to Susie 329, who referred to it as accidental excellence.
yeah.
Oh, okay.
I'm really happy with that.
Yeah, that's what we set out for, isn't it? Not that
My
deliberate
mistakes.
excellence that everybody else is aiming at.
No, we never do that. Never deliberate.
Accidental excellence is, yeah, that's a good thing.
I mean,
Yeah.
So we were talking about my Halloween, your respective Halloweens. What about Mel B's Halloween?
Interesting.
Did you hear about this? Al?
Yes. She had fancy dress style beef, didn't she?
She threw shade. She threw Halloween shade
That's what they say.
at Victoria Beckham. Did you see the costume, Frank?
I did see her. Who is that the boyfriend, the bloke who was with her?
She's not with the boyfriend.
Rumoured
no, that's not the
boyfriend.
boyfriend. That's her hairdresser.
Yeah, he's rumoured as a boyfriend, which I found
Hairdresser?
remarkable because I can barely manage talking to a hairdresser for the length of time of a haircut. So.
Yeah, but I don't suppose
Well, that's
he
not the
said
reason
to her-
why I doubt that he's her boyfriend.
He
but
didn't
that's
say,
another
did you
story.
see the match last night? No, in case you didn't see, let me paint what they used to call in the West Bromwich Albion football programme pen pictures.
Oh, yeah.
So there is Mel B wearing a little black dress, okay?
Yeah.
So far, so good. Then she's got like a white styrofoam mask on with a colour photocopy of Posh Spice stuck to it. And then she's got an axe, nothing to do, obviously, with Posh Spice, not renowned for axe wielding.
No.
And on the axe, it says, remind me what it
It says, "No, I am not going on tour."
Okay, so it's basically an HR crisis being aired in a public domain.
Very public.
But then the hairdresser, let's call
Gary
him
Madyatan.
Gary Madyatan. Oh yeah, he's got to be from the northeast. Gary Madyatan.
Good friend of Chris Ramsey's.
I think he's got has he got an axe as well?
He's got some kind of...
Same thing.
He had a David Beckham shirt, didn't he?
He had a David
backwards.
Beckham shirt back to front so that when he had his photo took, you'd know who he was.
And a
blonde
sign
wig.
that said, "Please, please, please do it for the fans."
Yes.
Yeah.
So she's basically saying, that's it, it's all over, I'm not going on tour. And he's
This is
offering the
Posh
other
Spice,
side
yeah.
of the argument.
The problem
the
is
colour-
they look like placards rather than like an act.
Well, they were placards.
Yeah, they
And
look like
also-
they're going to a sort of a strike of some kind.
No, but
She hadn't even bought one of those celebrity cardboard masks, but she'd done a
Cut it
colour
out.
photocopy and stuck it to this
Yeah.
other thing. It wasn't quite on at the edges, so it was
It was a
sticking.
bit. It was a similar sort of haphazard approach as the one you always refer to, Frank. When we see on the television, sometimes they use the photocopies to talk about the newspapers.
Oh,
You
yes.
don't like that.
He doesn't
Come on,
like
make
that.
some
It was
effort.
so. It was just. I suppose it solved the problem
How
of Posh
shabby. Spice
not going on tour. Is that Mel B can be a sort of Alec Guinness figure playing all parts. She can come on and do her solos in a colour photocopy stuck to a white
I think
styrofoam.
that's what it was. She was auditioning for the role of Mel B of
Posh Spice.
of Posh Spice.
Yeah.
Put her
Can I-
wages up for the tour.
Oh yeah, 2 jobs.
Not bad.
They should have a different celebrity
jobs.
every night. Like, have I got news for you? Playing Posh Spice. I'd do it. If they said to me, come and
sure
do
you
Posh
would.
Spice, 10 grand.
Posh Spice will be
10
played
grand?
by Lembit Opik.
What? As if they'd offer Frank Skinner 10
grand.
grand. He really thinks he's going to get the offer. 10 grand,
Why
I'd
not?
do it.
I'm on about, that we'd start at 10.
Yeah.
But I'd go
Add
and
the
be
VAT.
Posh Spice for a night at the NIA in Cardiff or something like that. If there is
You
one.
wouldn't get that. You might get Birmingham.
Yeah, I
maybe.
might get
That'd
Birmingham.
be big news.
But I'd go and be Posh Spice.
If they can't afford 10 for Frank, I'll do it for half of that if any of the bookers are listening.
What,
Oh, thanks. I'm the only one who's ruled out here.
how many solo?
Female brunette.
How many solo hits did she have? 1 or 2?
There was This Tune's Gonna Punish Her. I remember that one.
Don't know that
I'd
one.
say there was 4. Maybe
Okay.
3.
And I'd come on and do that, join in with the other songs, and maybe design a nice frock on stage.
I tell you what.
Get
Al,
a fan on stage and design an outfit for them.
I think that's a good idea.
Colour
know-
photocopies, obviously. Just Mel B will do them. I think they're 4p each.
what I would say about you, Frank Skinner, you got the legs for it.
Well, there you go. There you go.
Lovely legs.
So
That's
that-
all right when I say it.
there's the answer, I think, to the. Am I right that Mel C's not going as well, or has that been
No, they're
resolved?
all
I think they're all
going,
going.
Oh.
except for Victoria Beckham.
Yeah.
Well, I don't get it.
No.
It's almost as if she's so financially comfortable that she can not go.
Yeah.
Mm.
Yeah.
But the others can't be short, can they?
I don't know. Don't know about that.
Mind you,
financial.
judging by the Halloween outfit, Mel B's.
She's not spent any money on that lot.
She's, what's that word on her onkers? Was that what they used to say? Have you seen her onkers? Is that what they used to say on her onkers?
Down on
no
her
one
uppers,
said
is it?
that. On her uppers, yeah.
Down on her uppers? I don't know.
Oh,
8,
okay.
12, 15. What are we
She's
trying
on
to
her
say?
uppers.
If you're on
Why
your
can't we
uppers,
speak this morning?
if you're on your uppers, does it mean that you've worn through the soles
Yes.
of your shoes and you're through to the upper?
Exactly right. Well done.
Tell you what,
Oh, hush my mouth.
by the time we get to 2018, we'll be able to talk properly.
They'll have talked around by then.
Frank
Skinner.
on Absolute Radio.
Absolute Radio.
Mel B made a point of tweeting afterwards. Did you see this? Or I think it's Instagram. They're more Instagram, these people, aren't they? They don't
Are
like
they?
to write things.
These
yeah.
people.
Did she say something
Oh,
like
the
it's
pop
all just
stars
bands?
and yeah.
I love fun.
No, I'll tell you what she said. She said, me and at Gary never laughed so much. Hashtag living my best life. Hashtag belly laughs.
Do you think some of
No.
that was? Do you think some of that was her making fun of people that put hashtags like "living my
No.
best life"?
No.
No.
Oh,
She should have put an axe tag. Okay? Because she had an axe.
yes, to grind.
Well,
I
she's
think-
holding an axe.
I think that's just what you do when you say, never laughed so much in my life. I don't know if
And
they
Halloween is the time to use the hashtag "living my best life."
I
isn't
think
it?
it's
'Cause-
when you think I have been profoundly humiliated. I'm going to say I've never laughed so much in my life.
Yeah, it's been great.
Or I was in such a state I never laughed so much because I didn't know what was happening.
Yeah,
Mm.
yeah.
I can't believe she won't be unhappy when she looks back on this decision. Also, I tell you what,
This decision.
I would love to have been at that. This is Heidi Klum's party. Heidi Klum. Heidi Klum had prosthetics done to look like the princess from Shrek. It's probably in the chair 4 hours, and then
Yeah.
it should come in but Mel B and her hairdresser with a colour photocopy stuck to a styrofoam mask and a football shirt on the wrong way around. So you know it was, well, thanks. What is this? This is the effort you make? You know, I'm German. I don't like sloppiness. She will never be invited to Heidi Klum's party again, I tell you.
Do you think that's it
I mean,
for
what's
her?
going to be next year? Black and white photocopy of somebody? Oh, I'm sorry. I'm dead sorry, but the colour print has been repossessed. I mean, poor Heidi Klum absolutely pushed
She
the
didn't
boat
even
out.
go for the nylon vampire cape with the 4 foldeds in it.
No,
you know when it's
nothing.
just come out of the plastic?
Nothing.
She didn't even go for that.
She didn't even have one of those outfits when the shoes are part of the trousers and there's like an elastic bit underneath.
Oh, those.
I mean, she just turned up like it was a children in need event. It was Heidi Klum's Halloween party. Heidi Klum had got prosthetics.
I mean, I had a
Oh.
dressmaker for Jonathan Ross's.
Did you? Well,
Yeah.
there you go.
Quote of the year. If I
Yeah.
do say so myself.
I
no,
mean,
but I had
make
someone
an
rustle me.
effort.
These people make a lot of effort. And so,
Good axes. Posh Spice. You know, Posh
Yeah.
Spice often has a medieval execution as axe in publicity pictures.
also the dress she chose, it was just a plain black dress.
Yeah.
But isn't that
It
what-
wasn't. Well, come on, you could have gone more iconic.
I think she was
Yeah.
famous for the little black dress, wasn't she?
She was, but still, I'm just saying, as part of the make an effort.
Yes. Well, she looked great in a little black dress, but the not quite properly stuck on colour photocopy, raggedly cut out face mask. Oh, Heidi. I bet Heidi has already crossed her off next year's list.
I liked it when Heidi, was it last year, Frank, or a few years ago, when she went to her own Halloween parties, the most horrific thing she could think of was someone old.
Is that
Yeah.
what she did?
She had prosthetics, didn't she, to look old?
Brilliant.
Do you remember
Yeah,
that?
she's missing a chance because, you know, she'll look back on being like the less attractive princess and thinking, you know, I should have filled me boots while I still had it.
Yeah.
Yeah. She did look. I think she went the other way. If you're going to just do full prosthetics and stuff, it's not really a party anymore. It's somebody just saying, I've got access to, professional
Yeah.
makeup.
Yeah.
But
Threw
now
money at the
they-
problem, if you ask me.
the bloke with the football shirt on the wrong way around, just in case you got any doubt. Well, of course I've got doubts who you are. You've got a blonde wig on. I'm supposed to say,
Also-
oh, David Beckham.
Frank, why couldn't they have typed it? Couldn't they have written it on, even if they can't afford a computer,
can't
a
type,
word
those
processor,
people.
an Amstrad maybe? Just write it, print it. Don't write it in biro on the cardboard
it
sign.
was,
Oh,
I bet she'd come straight from the bingo all the time.
Frank
Skinner.
on Absolute Radio.
Absolute Radio.
We're talking about Halloween. Did you also see the Kardashians?
You know, there's an example of not buying into the horror theme necessarily.
Well, they went as Victoria's Secret angels.
Yes.
yeah.
One of them is called Kendall. I mean, how you could miss a trick and not go as Kendall Minkey?
Yeah, that'd be a great
For your
outfit. That'd be
fancy
a bit like the Boilerman outfit, angular, very angular.
Do they sponsor a football team? Oh, I'd love it if they did.
Who, Kendall Minkey?
Yeah, should do it.
Kardashians. What if they sponsored Hartlepool?
Yeah, yeah.
It'd be a lovely gesture from them to put some of the money back into grassroots.
Yeah.
But one of them, we should say, is an actual Victoria's Secret angel.
Oh, I didn't know that.
Kendall, I
Oh,
believe
so
it
do
is.
you think
I
she
think
just
she is.
got a load of the gear when she was
They
on...
got it sent over. But that is like you and Alan turning up just with a mic strapped to you, to your neck, isn't it?
Well, also,
And as myself.
they got free costumes.
Yeah.
From they They actually spent less than Mel B did on their car. I mean,
Who'd have thought that was possible?
and also, do you believe that Victoria's Secret, they phoned up and said, can we have free costumes? And they said, yeah. Wouldn't the Kardashians say, we'll go as Victoria's Secret girls if you give us $8 million?
Yeah.
Yeah, I'm sure some money
Maybe
changed
not,
hands.
maybe not 8, but some
Some money
dollars.
changed hands.
I just wish. I know they're very sort of. I think they're interested in exposure in all kinds of ways.
The Kardashians.
Yeah, I always think that she should get a phone company and change her name. Do you remember when Maria Sharapova was going to change her name to Maria Sugarpova to advertise her own sweets?
I do not remember that.
Yeah, and there
Oh,
was
it was
some
great.
problems. Some of the tennis things, and they wouldn't use the new name.
Yeah, they got upset.
Right.
Yeah.
She was so upset she took an illegal substance.
That's right.
But
That's the response that all professional athletes would go for, isn't it?
Yeah.
In the
Exactly.
face of commercial.
But if she went
Yeah.
to say O2 and said, I'm going to change my name to SIM card Ashian,
That is good.
wouldn't they hoover her up, I would say.
I would imagine so.
Yeah.
I just think when they're sitting around, the Kardashian ladies, and one of them says, what we're going to wear for Halloween, and the other one says, what about going as Victoria's Secret models?
Yeah.
Doesn't one of them say, don't you think that we're slightly upfronting
Yeah.
a sort of a cynical approach to getting in the papers? I don't want people to think we're choosing our outfit just to get coverage.
Yeah.
And Kim says, no one's going to think that.
No.
Relax. Is this why Emily Davidson jumped in front of the King's horse so the Kardashians could dress like that?
Well, I also think it is strange, isn't it? The idea of saying, what are you going to go as? I'm going to go as a supermodel. I mean,
Yeah.
that's all well and good, but have a sense of humour, love.
Yeah, I mean,
It's Halloween, have a laugh.
they're lovely ladies. I'm not denying that.
Yeah, but I do feel exhausted when I look at them. I
Yeah,
find it
me too.
exhausting. I think, yeah, well, you do for different reasons. I think the contouring, the nails,
I'm
the
exhausted
hair.
when I've finished looking at
Yeah, oh, no, come on. What happened there?
No, I'm sorry about
Yeah,
that.
yeah.
Sorry, everyone. These
Laddie.
cigarettes.
There's
Cigarette-
just...
Who's
These
laddie?
cigarettes are killing me.
That's your fourth one this morning. I just think, yeah, there's a lot to do.
Yeah.
There's a lot to do.
Look, my view on the Kardashians, I remember someone tried to put them in on Room 101, and my view has always been the talented people have had their own way long enough. It's about time the other people got a bit of the limelight. So share and share alike.
My
Yeah.
problem with this story was mainly the misnomer that is Victoria's Secret. Seems to be one of the most publicity-seeking companies ever.
Well, exactly.
Not very secretive at all.
And also the outfits are hardly secret.
No.
No. You see someone in one of those outfits and you think, well, you know, it's like when you see a very long trailer of a film and you say, well, I feel like I've seen it now.
Yeah. The secret's out.
Frank
Skinner.
on Absolute Radio.
Absolute Radio.
We've had an email. Once went to an 80s fancy dress party with 4 printed circuit pictures stuck on me via Pritt stick, one on each leg, one on my left temple and the last on my right arm. During the party, one of them fell off my leg, so I started running round in circles.
I don't really.
Don't know what I don't get it.
What does it
Am I
all,
really missing
What
something?
does it all mean? Circuit, as in like the circuit you get when you pull a radio apart.
Maybe.
You read it out.
Yeah, I think I read it out because I wanted you guys to say, this is what this means.
Well, we've let you down.
Sorry about that.
Circuit, one on the temple.
Yeah.
Read it again.
I once went to an 80s fancy dress party
80s,
with 4
right,
printed circuit pictures stuck on me via Pritt stick, one on each leg, one on my left temple and the last on my right arm. During the party, one of them fell off my leg, so I started running around in circles. So maybe they were trying to create like a robot vibe, like Tron or something.
The thing is, if we're struggling, I mean,
Imagine
with
the poor-
a lengthy description, I think it might. I'm worried about the impact it would have had, this costume.
Yeah, I'm worried about the impact it's had on our listening figures. Next.
Well, if you think that costume sounded disappointing,
Yeah.
Kim Kardashian, she had a Halloween costume fail.
Did she?
What's
Did
that?
she?
A fail is when obviously no one recognises who you're dressed as. She came as...
I thought Kim Kardashian went as a Victoria's Secret.
You thought, right, my friend. Then, at a later point in the evening...
No way.
She went home and she changed. And she got into another costume.
Well,
Great use of well. And she went as Pamela Anderson. And her friend Jonathan Chiban went as Tommy Lee. Tommy Lee objected to it afterwards, may I say.
Did he?
He said, my culture is not your costume.
Oh, a political correctness zing.
Can we have a discussion about Tommy Lee's culture?
yeah, what is Tommy Lee's culture? I thought he was Psalms culture.
Yeah.
Also, how do you think Noel Fielding feels every Halloween?
Yeah.
But yeah, and no one recognised him.
So it's not dissimilar to Mel B and her hairdresser going as another
Yeah.
couple.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, why do you think she chose Pamela Anderson? It's a bit retro. If they had some sort of spat.
She said no one recognised her and she got very upset.
Well, I
and
think
she
if Pamela Anderson went herself, no one would recognise her. So she was hoping a bit.
Yeah.
Is she a big fan of Baywatch? This Kim Kardashian figure that we...
I doubt it. She
don't
doesn't
know.
have time.
No.
No, they don't watch telly, these people.
They're
very
constantly on
busy.
telly, aren't they?
They're not like Frank. They haven't got time to sit there and watch Merlin.
Look, they're all
box set.
God's children, just remember that. Or most of them.
Yeah.
Some of them obviously has been added. But
Yeah.
they're basically Cybermen. But they look lovely, lovely girls. I bet they have some laughs when they're all together.
You reckon?
Do you think, the Victoria's Secrets, they're dressed as angels?
Yeah.
Does God say, my culture is not your costume?
I think
that
so.
would be
That's
a
fair
very
enough. You
reasonable-
could say that, Frank. You could say that.
Yeah.
It's your culture, isn't it?
Yeah, exactly. I actually believe in angels, like the real ones. What are you laughing at?
That.
I bet he's at the martial arts doing all the what's that thing? Namaste and all that stuff. Because he's too scared to tell the big boys that he doesn't believe in it. And then he comes here with a poor 61-year-old man who's had pneumonia, and suddenly he's the head honcho.
Skinner, Dean, and Cochrane. Together, The Frank Skinner Show.
Absolute Radio.
We've got an answer to that email that I read out a moment ago about the person going round in circles because a part of the circuit had fallen off.
Oh, yeah, we were confused about the costume.
We were just a bit
We didn't
confused,
understand it.
Which is why I read it and I realise now I shouldn't have. 80s, one on each leg, one arm, one eye. Think $6 million man and why one fast and
Yes,
one slow leg might send you running in
it
circles.
all makes. I forgot the particular whereabouts of his repairs.
Oh,
The Steve Austin, the bionic
We
man.
forget his, but you didn't forget where the Hulk had his repairs.
No,
True.
no.
Which was the waistband of the jeans shorts.
Do you remember Bionic Woman as well?
Do I remember her?
What was her name? Lindsay Wagner?
Yeah, loved her.
Lovely.
Frank, I don't know if you'll like me to read this out.
I don't know if I want to go out with someone I have to leave on charge.
I don't know if you'll want me to read this out, but I'm going to anyway because I really like it and I believe it to be true. This is from Bruce Smallmighty. In a broadly secular culture, I admire Frank's combination of openness about his religious beliefs while handling them with a light touch.
Yes.
Bravo, Frank. I believe in angels too.
and may I say, me too. Even though I giggled,
Careful
I
with
am a
that.
secularist, and I do believe that it's fine for people to believe what they want. I
Yeah.
also believe that it's fine for us to chat about it.
Right.
Yeah,
But is that email from Agneta Feldstock?
yeah, exactly.
I believe in angels. Come on, everyone at home.
No.
Something new in
good.
everything. Oh, no, okay, don't.
Okay.
They were always rubbish. When I was at school, everyone said they were rubbish. Now they're much loved.
Yeah. Like so many. Like so many things.
Yeah, like so many groups in society.
Yeah.
That's progress. That's progress, girls. You've done well. You've done well for yourselves.
Oh, I want to take that Bruce Small Mighty thing back now. It's gone off you.
Come on, ladies. Oh, dear. This is what happens when Jim Davidson texts in. It brings out the worst in
Friend
me.
of the show now.
Frank
Skinner.
on Absolute Radio.
Absolute Radio.
Do you ride any more at M?
Not very often. I do occasionally.
I rode
After my last fall, I got a little frightened.
I rode this week.
How did you find
on
it?
a Highland pony. God, the
Did you?
width on it. It's like it was like sitting on a sofa with a buttock on each arm.
Did you enjoy it?
Well, it was too wide for me. I've never been. I couldn't decide which way it was facing.
Yes, they are wide, aren't they?
I feel like Jean-Claude Van Damme doing the splits on two chairs.
It was. It was like that. It was like doing that. I was very separated, I must say.
Yes, you've got to get the right horse. That's not right.
That's a rule I live by.
If I'd have had a mobile phone on each ankle, I don't
Great
think
stress.
the coverage would have reached each other. That's how far apart they
Oh,
were.
why does he say mobile phone?
It's one of the many weird emphases that
Yeah.
he goes for.
Cell phone. Thank you so much for listening this morning. And if the good Lord spares us and the creeks don't rise, we'll be back again this time next week. Be seeing you.
You're listening to the Frank Skinner podcast from Absolute Radio. Want your Frank fix a little sooner? Listen live every Saturday from 8 a.m. on Absolute Radio. Across the UK on digital radio, mobile apps, and in London and the South East on 105.8 FM.
Absolute Radio.